Hello and welcome back for another awesome episode. This week, we're going to be talking about 3 steps to get fit when the kids go back to school. Now, I know I'm in North Carolina right now, and the kids are all starting to go back. All the college kids just came back because I'm basically like right next to East Carolina University. So we're entering that time now where you no longer have to figure out where the heck your kids are going to be all day. It might free up your schedule, hopefully. And if that's the case, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So, if you're that type of person who is a mom or a dad with kids going back to school who are trying to burn body fat and get back to being fit, this is the episode for you. So it's going to be real quick. Honestly, there's not a ton to go over, but it's going to be very impactful. And if you can master this stuff, it's going to be so much easier to get back at it rather than just praying to God that you have the motivation to get you all the way through. So here's a quick step-by-step approach to set yourself up for success. So let's talk about the big three. Okay. There are 3 steps to this. There is your schedule, there's the workouts, and then there's the nutrition aspect. First off is your schedule. This is the first and most important thing because you need to block out time for you. You got to make it happen because otherwise you're just, again, we're back in that hoping and praying position where it's like, I'm going to make it happen somehow, some way. And we're going to take the hopes and the wishes and all this gray space woo woo crap and say, nope, none of that. We're putting it down on paper. We're going to make this happen. We're not just going to leave it to chance. So break out the calendar and figure out, okay, when exactly am I going to do this? Now, you don't have to do this for months at a time. You could just do this at the very start or end of your week. So, a good method to get into is on Sundays or Mondays. Take a look at your calendar and say, okay, which days are busiest? Which days are lightest? Where can I manage the workouts? Where can I manage meal prep and all the fun stuff that goes into that? So, block that stuff out. I know I do this pretty much every single week with all the Fit40 clients. I'm like, is there anything that is coming up, like upcoming events? Do you have a busy season going on? Have you shifted your workouts around to match your week? This is a very, very good habit to get into because if you can do this and get ahead of the game, then life doesn't just happen to you. You get in the driver's seat and you're like, okay, I know what's coming for the most part. And if stuff does come up, it's easier to swap things around and move them to make sure that it still happens rather than throwing your hands up in the air and going, ah, crap, it happened again. And then let's say that that does happen. Your backup slash baseline plan is a good thing to get into the habit of too. Always having that, okay, if shit hits the fan, what's the bare minimum that I can get done? And for a lot of people, that's one 20-minute workout each week. I know some clients get into that rhythm where they do, all right, I'm just going to get at least one and work on my food because if we're being honest, nutrition is always going to be part of the deal. You're always going to have some sort of a choice in that regard. You're always going to be eating. So really the kicker is always going to end up being the workouts. And then you always have the option to do your best when it comes to nutrition, not being perfect, but making better decisions. So what is that baseline plan for you? Now, if you don't understand what that is for you and like what you can manage even on your worst week, then that's what these strategy calls that I offer every week are for. So take advantage of that if you want somebody to walk you through it. Next is workouts. So you have your schedule down. You have exactly what the heck you're going to be doing each and every day. If you, whether that's a rest day, whether that's a walk, whether that's workouts, okay, make sure that you have the time for it. Make sure that you actually plan this out correctly. If you have a swamp day and you're like, I'm going to make a 60-minute workout happen, and it just doesn't happen over and over and over again, then that's not the right plan for you. Okay. If you need to do something as little as 20 minutes, grab the toned in 20 workouts and the free resources on the fit40coaching.com. Those are 20-minute workouts that will get you just as good, if not better results, because you'll actually be able to keep doing them. So make sure that whatever workout you do choose does fit your time frame with your lifestyle and what you are able to do. Number 2 is making sure that it matches your goals. Now, if you're trying to burn body fat and try and improve your body composition, okay, beating yourself into the ground with these circuit workouts is not how you do it. Okay. trying to make yourself go on hours and hours of runs is not the secret to fat loss. Okay. You need to make sure that the workouts actually support your goals. So if that is your goal, make sure that one, you're doing some sort of resistance training, whether that is with dumbbells, bands, or even body weight, just making sure that you're creating that demand on your body. Again, this is in the toned and 20 workouts, but making sure that you're doing stuff where you're challenging your body to change is the big one. Because when you do that, when you do what's called progressive overload and you add more repetitions, you add sets in, you do it more work, or you do it in less time, any of that stuff, or you choose a harder variation, your body is going to need to increase muscle density, or sorry, increase bone mineral density, your bone thickness. It's going to have to create muscle. And when it does that, then every pound that you lose is going to be majority body fat, because every time you lose a pound when you're on a diet, it's always a percentage of lean body mass and fat mass. And if you're building and maintaining muscle and bone, then you can assume that you're not losing any of that when you're losing pounds. It's pretty much all body fat. So make the most of your time and do workouts that actually match your goals. And then last but not least is enjoyment. Make sure you actually do kind of enjoy these. Like, make sure you enjoy how you feel when you're done. Because if you're just running yourself into the ground saying, I'm making up for lost time, the summer I did so much drinking and eating, I just got to kill myself and then I'll get back to where I want to be. That's a load of shit. Come on. We're past that. If you've been listening, if you're a first time listener, you'll notice a trend here. Okay. This is all about making you feel better. It's not about making you feel worse. Fitness should be an expression of what you're capable of and feeling good. It's not a punishment. So let's enjoy the damn thing. Let's have some fun with it. And if that goes against your goals, then just understand that there's a balance to this. So let's say, for example, you do like going on runs, but you're trying to burn body fat. Go on some runs, but just make sure that they don't impact your strength training, and make sure that strength training is what's leading the way. Or let's say that your goal is to like burn body fat, and like you've heard me talk about how group training for people that are not beginners isn't exactly ideal because you hit plateaus. That's totally cool, but you can still go to group training. You could go to these classes. Just make sure it's like once or twice a week, and then you also get your strength training in along with it. So that way you're doing what's necessary, but you're actually having fun doing it. So it's a mix of what you need and what you want. Next is nutrition. So when it comes to nutrition, especially if the goal is fat loss or body recomposition or even performance, you need some sort of, and I say this like not in a negative way, but some sort of restriction. You need some guiding light to keep you in a good place, because we live in a food environment that is designed to make you fat. Okay. We have a lot of companies competing to make things even tastier by the day, to make them cheaper, to make them more available. And it's a very tough environment to navigate for most people. This is why we have an obesity epidemic, why we have the majority of people in the United States are overweight or obese, because of the environment. It's not all these like million things you hear about on the internet that are trying to make boogeymen out of like seed oils or other crap like that. It's all about the environment. We have McDonald's and we have Burger King across the street from each other when that didn't exist 50 years ago. Okay. We have all these snacks in our homes that were not in our homes 50, 60 years ago. Okay. We need to have some rules in place to just keep us in a place where our environment suits our goals. So when it comes to restriction, the big three are calorie restriction, time restriction, and food restriction. Now, I left food off of this because that's one of those that is a very short-term solution. So saying you cut out carbohydrates or you went Whole30 and doing all this stuff and you're just sticking to it hardcore, okay, that stuff does not last, and it's not a really good, reliable strategy for the long term. Now, if you have something that is a special event like a wedding or something like that, and you really want to dial it in for a month or two and you want to go that route, that's fine. Just know that it's a short-term solution. It's not something that's going to get you sustainable results. Now, when it comes to calories, understanding how many calories you need to get the results that you want is paramount. Now, you don't have to track forever, but you should understand what your typical week or month looks like and how to fit certain things in and what portions. And If you don't want to do that, or you want to add another layer to this to give you some more structure, you could also do time restriction. This is why intermittent fasting works so well for some people, is because when they have those hard cutoffs that say, listen, I'm not eating after, say, 6. Like when people say no carbs after 6, it's not because it's like magic. It's because it gets people to stop eating. It gets people to stop snacking at night. And you have a hard start time. So if you say, hey, I'm going to start eating at 8 a.m., you're not going to skip breakfast because you know that, hey, my window starts now. So it's like you fire the gun off and it's like, all right, we're off to the races. You got to take that first step, which is eating breakfast. So stuff like that can help. Next is having some sort of a structure. And what I mean by that is understanding what your day looks like. Now, in the Fit40 program, when I coach people on this, I'm like, listen, we got to figure out how many meals and how many snacks you can stick to 7 days a week. So for me personally, I like a 3+1. So 3 meals plus one snack. Now, that plus one can be a snack that's around 200 calories. It could be a piece of fruit. It could be half of an appetizer when we go out. It could be half of a dessert. It could be a low calorie alcoholic beverage. And that way I have some way to kind of shift things around and understand I can have whatever I want. I just can't have all of it. Now, you can figure this out along with calories. So it's like, okay, I budget however many calories per meal. So let's say I'm trying to get 2,500 calories in a day, and that one snack is like 200 calories. We'll leave 2,300 for the rest of the day. So you figure that's somewhere in the ballpark of like 700 to 800 calories per meal. So I'll just in the back of my head think, okay, I want to aim for that per meal. So if we're out to a restaurant or something and they have an under 600 calorie meal option, I'll be like, all right, perfect. Or it's one of those awesome places that have all the nutrition info that's starting to become a thing now, but it's not guaranteed. But let's say you could just look it up on your phone and you could be like, all right, I'll have anything as long as it's within that 700 calorie range. Then you can do that and you're going to be in a much better spot than just winging it and saying, meh, I'm going to eat whatever I want tonight because it's my cheat meal. Okay. That cheat meals are a really good maintenance strategy. They are not a good fat loss strategy. Um, and then, so when you figure that out, it could be 3+1 like me. It could be 3+2, 2+2, whatever. I know a lot of people that work shift work jobs like civil service workers or healthcare workers do really well with the 2 meal structure with some snacks in between during shift. So just starting with one big meal at the beginning and one big meal at the end of the shift and having like protein bars or a banana or something where they could just eat it as they're working or on the go, like in between patients or in between calls. Like that's a really good way to go too. But it comes down to understanding what's best for you. And again, if you want this done for you, just sign up for a strategy call, do it for free with you. And then next is preparation. So this comes down to meal prep. Is it possible to just block out one day, just one day, ideally two? That way your stuff doesn't taste nasty by like day 5, 6, or 7. But can you block out some time just to prepare? And it doesn't even have to be whole meals. It could literally just be ingredients, like the things that take the longest to cook, like the proteins or the carbohydrates if you're cooking potatoes or any or something like that that does take a very long time. Or if you want to cut up vegetables, you don't even have to cook them. You just cut them up. That way you're saving some money getting them non-prepared from the store. And that way, when you're ready to eat them, you just microwave them or toss them on a skillet real quick, then you're good to go. Just going that extra mile and saving yourself some time to make it more convenient is going to make a world of difference. So that's that pretty much in a nutshell. You have your schedule, your workouts, and your nutrition. When you can figure that all out and actually take just 10 minutes, 15 minutes out of your week just to game plan, it makes a world of difference. That's why we do it in the Fit40 program every like 12 weeks. We'll come up with the next 12 weeks of a plan and we do it in 15 minutes. It takes no time at all. It just takes a little bit of time. So block out that time, do right by yourself, and make sure that we hit this back to school season in a good way. Now, if you want more tips like this and you want a good community to go along with it, If you're not already in it, I don't know what the heck you're doing. The Fit40 family is the Facebook group that goes along with this podcast, and it's loaded with other people just like you, moms over 40 who are really trying to improve themselves, and they're super duper supportive. I am so freaking proud of this group because I'm in some other Facebook groups and it's toxic. It's horrible. People just like ripping into each other, and we got none of that going on. It's just a bunch of really good, supportive people who post their meals, who post their runs and their workouts and stuff. So if you're a big fan of that, highly recommend you getting in there. And if you like everything you just heard about and you're just like, listen, I don't want to waste any time, I just want to jump right in. Okay. That's what the Fit40 12-week Kickstart is for. It's the 90-day program that is the initial kickstart, like it says, to get you going, to get you in the right place and learn the things you need to learn so that you can actually keep the weight off for the long term. And usually the average person loses about 10 to 20 pounds of fat and loses a dress size or two in that 90 days. So if you want guaranteed results, that's the place to go. Information's in the description and the show notes. So take a look, and you don't have to purchase if you set up a call. I'm just saying, if you, it's an information call, free consultation, no sales or no, what's it called? No cheesy sales pitch. We're just going to talk, see if it's right for you. And if it is, great. And if it's not, that's fine too. But do it for yourself and really take the time. And if you're interested, I'm very happy to talk, even if you don't end up signing up. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you got something out of this. And if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me on all the socials, or if you're on the email list, make sure to send me an email, and I'm always happy to talk. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week. I'll see you all same time, same place next week. But until then, go kick some ass. I'll see you later.